It may be all over but the crying for Jimmy Kimmel, the ABC not-so-funny late-night host, might be boasting privately that his contract will be the last. No more Kimmel with Disney? Folks, that's what we've got for you today, as well as the ratings disaster, Kimmel sending now audiences away to CBS and 60 Minutes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is a joy to have you here. And by the way, happy weekend. It is a joy, folks. Let's get ready to get started. Click the like button. Let's dive in. Jimmy Kimmel done at Disney very soon. It's looking that way with a new quote from the Jimster. Ladies and gentlemen, out of the wrap, Jimmy Kimmel ends upfront monologue with heartfelt requests that advertisers, get ready, support 60 Minutes. They deserve it. Let's get into this. But before we do, you may not know this. 60 Minutes doesn't air on any Disney channel. 60 Minutes isn't on ABC where Jimmy Kimmel is. Jimmy Kimmel is telling his viewers, and Jimmy Kimmel is a Disney guy. He's on ABC. He's telling them to leave the Disney ABC channel and go to CBS. And he's doing this at the same time that CBS is facing a $20 billion lawsuit that is in mediation that appears to be coming to an end. And by the way, the folks who work at 60 Minutes, they might be at the end of their careers over there. And Jimmy Kimmel is attaching himself to this. Oh, how Disney must love it. Oh, this is wonderful, isn't it, for them? It says after taking shots at NBC, CBS, and Netflix all afternoon, the ABC host made a plea to support journalism. Get over there and save the journalists. Save them. Kayla Cobb has this article. After spending most of his time at the Disney upfronts mocking his parent company's competition, ABC late night host Jimmy Kimmel ended his monologue with a somber plea.
I know it's not part of our multi-platform, but support 60 Minutes. They deserve it. You have the power because you have the money. Support journalism. It's important, and it doesn't work without you.
Kimmel said on Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what this is. And then we'll bring on the panel before we even go any further, okay? Let me tell you what this is. Jimmy Kimmel has back channels. Jimmy Kimmel has peeps that talk to advertisers. Jimmy Kimmel knows people in the industry who are very good friends with advertisers. He likely knows many of the CEOs who pay for the advertisers. Jimmy Kimmel can reach out privately and do all this and not cause his own company to suffer. Jimmy Kimmel convinced not a single person to advertise, which costs millions of dollars, on 60 Minutes with this monologue. Not a single person watched this and said, you know what? We were going to pull out according to this corporate dictate that I just received, but never mind. I'm going to ignore my CEO now, and we're totes going to advertise on 60 Minutes. Nobody did that. This is what we in the business call a virtue signal. It is completely and utterly only to poke his finger in the eyes of those he despises, as well as his own corporate overlords at Disney, who I am sure he is unhappy that they have acquiesced in the past to Orange Man Bad, including not only what we know about them settling with Disney, but also Mr. Johnston himself, the CFO of Disney, saying that they're happy now to work with Trump. We're going to get to the second half of this story in just a moment. Let's go to the panel, though. Panel, what do you make of the idea? This reminds me of a dark version of Miracle on 34th Street. If you've ever seen that Christmas movie, the lady says, I just don't get it. I just don't get it because they sending me to Gimbel's. They said they got the toy at Gimbel's, right? They do that whole thing. And so the whole idea of that movie is that suddenly Macy's does very well because they start sending people to other places. Jimmy Kimmel is now doing this in real life on television, saying, go watch the other people. Go support the other people. Go advertise for them. Kevin, how much must Disney love this?
Oh my goodness. You're there competing for advertising dollars. And we know that this is like the kumite because the dollars are fewer and farther apart to get. And you have this bloviating buffoon decide that now it's going to be time to virtue signal. And that's when it's like, well, if Jimmy Kimmel told you to advertise in 60 Minutes, would you? Instead of your friend jumping off of a bridge. This is where we are. This guy is, oh my gosh, he's so just, you just want to smack him. He's so obnoxious. Yeah, he's so obnoxious. When you said we were going to be talking about a comedian, I was excited, and then you said Jimmy Kimmel, and my hopes were down.
Kevin, I'm so sorry, but what if it gets worse? Oh. What if it gets worse, folks? This is from I Meme, Therefore I Am. And they're hosting this MSNBC interview that Kimmel just did. Folks, here's what, this is on a roll, and this is orchestrated. I want you all to know this. Kimmel, he didn't just come out in his monologue and do that and do an interview on MSNBC, which is dime. He didn't do all that. Just, willy-nilly, it just happens to be this way. Here's what he had to say.
I'm an optimistic person. I'm not hysterical. I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. I think if you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah. If you're a reasonable person, you have TDS. This, by the way, that would mean that at least 70%, but probably more, probably 80% of the country is unreasonable in the eyes of Jimmy Kimmel, because I'm here to tell you, the vast majority of Americans don't have TDS. Some of them may not like him. Some of them may not have voted for him. But the vast majority of folks out there, they don't have TDS. Jimmy Kimmel just called 80% of Americans irrational.
And by the way, I think he has derangement syndrome about us, too. The fact of the matter is, this is a dangerous person. This is a stupid person. And that's a bad combination. And
this is what Jimmy Kimmel is up to at the time that Disney is trying to negotiate all of this stuff with Hollywood, with the Trump tariffs, this is amazing. Panel, get in here. I've got more on Jimmy Kimmel, and then I've got the big news we've got, the big scoop. Go ahead, though, panel. Your thoughts. I don't want to hold anybody back on this.
I don't want anybody.
This guy.
Before we dive into this, I think it's really important that we ask what's happening with Joe Scarborough's pants, socks, and shoes.
Well, whatever is happening with Joe Scarborough's clothing, it's at least better than what this woman is suffering through with Jimmy Kimmel behind her and from the Man Show. Remember, folks, Kevin, Jimmy Kimmel is the arbiter of virtue. He is the person at the top of the totem pole in knowing what's going on. He can call presidents stupid. He can call the vast majority of the country irrational. He can tell advertisers where they should go, and it's the competition. Panel, get in here before we get the scoop out of the way. What do you got to say?
Well, if Mr. Kimmel really wanted to make money for his network, he should have taken a page out of Sarah McLaughlin's book and, just start playing In the Arms of an Angel. Just show black and white things of 60 Minutes, and it's like, oh, help my friends out here. He's so out of touch. He's like Hall & Oates. The dude has no idea what the real world is like, and he can't grasp the concept of, hey, you look like you're a dang psychopath on your show. Like, America does not like your opinions, dude. Just leave, please.
I have a follow-up question. What does he's like Hall & Oates mean?
Because they're out of touch.
I move that we ban Nolan.
We love Nolan. We love Nolan.
Time out. I think there's 3 points to be made here. First is that truth is an absolute defense. I think the thing that offended me the most about what Kimmel said there was that we need your money to make this happen. That's not how journalism works. The original journalists were just people who went out there, were interested in what was going on, started asking questions, and published it, often anonymously, using pseudonyms, because publishing the truth could get them in trouble. That's where you got things like Silence Dogood and other pen names of our famous founding fathers. It didn't require money. It required asking questions, publishing them, and telling the truth. And the nice thing about telling the truth, if you're doing it, is that no matter what somebody throws against it, it will stand because it's unimpeachable. If you're actually telling the truth, you're going to survive everything that they throw at you. So I think this idea that you have to have money to get your message out, it may work in the short term. You can try and make a lot of noise and drown out the truth, but over time, it's going to come out. The other thing,
Okay, go ahead. I just want to say, Lauren, after you make this next point, which is going to be wonderful, the truth is going to come out because we got some truth for Jimmy Kimmel. Go ahead, Lauren.
Jimmy himself, it's like part of the problem with these people that are taking these stances is that when you're saying something like everybody ought to have Trump derangement syndrome, I understand if you don't like the guy, if you don't like his method of communicating, if you think that he's a bad guy, fine. But what they're missing is that none of these people buy their own groceries. None of these people have to drive themselves to work. None of these people are struggling month to month to try and pay their mortgage payment and to make sure that their kids are taken care of if they have to have a sitter, or that they can actually afford their prescription drugs to take care of whatever medical conditions they have. None of them have to make those kinds of hard choices. That's why they don't understand why maybe we're not so into what your prescription for America is because we've been suffering for a good long time with our quality of life going down and nothing to show for your leadership. That's why they're getting spanked right now. It's not about Trump. It's about the fact that everybody recognizes that something has fundamentally changed in the last 20 years where we know things were better before. You may not be able to put your finger on exactly what it is, but you know something has changed. And a lot of people now question, can we ever get back to those better times? And even if things begin to improve, what is life going to look like for our kids? That's why we're supporting somebody who's shaking things up in the establishment.
Very, very well said, Lauren. I agree with you completely. These people are completely disenfranchised from society. They have no idea how the real world works. But we know how they work. Folks, we want to give you something special because we want you to walk away from this and say, I know it because Pro showed it. This is a story that was largely buried about 2 months ago. We have uncovered it. Screen Rant. I was bummed hearing Jimmy Kimmel might retire from late night until I found out why. By Zachary Moser, again from February of 2025 this year. We're going to move on down. I don't need any of this. It just says Jimmy Kimmel hinted that he might not renew his contract. We're going to go on down till we get to the quote. Here's the quote from Jimmy Kimmel. And I'll read the preceding paragraph so nobody thinks, oh, it's out of context. It says, I don't even find Kimmel particularly funny in the way of Conan O'Brien and John Oliver, but I appreciate his showmanship and ability to get an interesting interview out of just about anyone. He has not asked us yet, folks, because we are a hard get for Jimmy. Which is why I was disappointed when Kimmel first started to acknowledge his time as a TV host may be coming to an end, says the author of this article. Not us, not we, not me. Here's the quote from Jimmy. I think this is my final contract. I hate to even say it because everyone's laughing at me now each time I think that, and then it turns out to be not the case. I still have a little more than 2 years left on my contract, and that seems pretty good. That seems like enough. That would mean that Jimmy Kimmel's contract ends around 2027. In fact, probably the summer of 2027. Now, why would Jimmy Kimmel be losing his show and not re-signing the contract? Well, to know that, let's go to the Hollywood Reporter. And it says how late night TV is downsizing. This is from 2024 by Alex Weprin and Rick Porter. If we scroll down here, you'll see the numbers. We're going to go down here to, where's our percentages? Here we go. It says 5 years ago, The Late Show finished first in total viewers among late night talk shows with 3.81 million. Goes on to say a decline of about 32% has happened in viewership for late night TV from 2018 and 19 until now. Jimmy Kimmel moved into second place in 2024 with 1.82 million viewers, which would be an even steeper decline than 32%. Folks, let's go to today. Jed Rosenwig, May 9th is the closest we've got to this. CBS and NBC late night shows see post-break bounce. Where are we today? It was a 32% drop in 2024, and that was down around 1.8 or 2 million viewers. So where are we today? Well, it says, meanwhile, last week's primary beneficiaries of a dark week at CBS and NBC, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live and Nightline predictably lost audience as the other late night shows came back online. Okay. What numbers are we talking about? Just give us the numbers. Jimmy Kimmel's been busy visiting MSNBC. So how did he do? 1.6 million viewers is what Jimmy Kimmel now pulls. 2 million for Stephen Colbert. And I know they're in reruns. I get it, folks. But I'm here to tell you, these people are now hitting, on average, it looks like about 1.5. If you take the 3 scores there, 1.5. When we go back to the THR article, and we see that they used to be pulling basically 4 million views. 4 million views. Then it makes sense that Jimmy Kimmel has already said, but people are not covering this. They're not connecting the dots. Jimmy has already said, I'm probably not going to get another contract. And what does that mean, folks? It means what we've been telling you. Late night is on its last legs. They sacrificed it on the altar of politics. And now that they've seen its demise, Jimmy Kimmel wants to get on MSNBC, talk about how the entire world is irrational except for him, and tell all of you that he did such a great job before he rides off into the sunset, and never admit that they and he destroyed the house that Johnny Carson built. Panel, hop in here. Give me your thoughts on this. Am I right? Am I wrong? And worst of all, might Jimmy Kimmel not truly be gone?
I think you're right on the money there, because even if, like, let's say Kimmel in alternate universe just made the show super, super conservative, I'd be saying the same things about him. Like, you can't just alienate most of your audience and think that, hey, my bosses are going to be happy. I'm going to be getting a 20-year contract. That ain't how this world works. Someone's got to bankroll you, dude. And I think his days are numbered. The most unfortunate thing about this is, knowing his elite status in Hollywood, I'm afraid they're going to put him in something else after he gets off late night TV. So he's going to somehow become more relevant again. Let's hope it's the Man Show 2 or something, because if they go and put him in, like, I don't know, sports casting, I'm going to go cry.
Oh, no. He's definitely, listen, MSNBC and CNN, they're done for. I don't think that he can go on YouTube, which is the new place to be. I don't know what Jimmy Kimmel's future might be. I don't know. Maybe he can go back and host some award shows that nobody's going to watch. Who knows, right? Maybe he can oogle some women, or pretend to be Karl Malone some more. There you go. Get back to what he used to do.
That's why.
Go, Vash.
Well, that's why I thought it was rich for him to provide that commentary, and for him to be this kind of this guy who gets morally outraged and expects everybody to think like him, and so forth. It's like, you have had some thoughts in the past that have been very, very questionable. But I think it's, and this is why I've poured you some of the stuff here, Pro, because it's just becoming just slowly unhinged. Even when he was delivering that monologue at the upfronts, apparently he was getting weepy around that time again, talking about 60 Minutes and how advertisers should support him and stuff. And it's like, this is just his brand now. He is the poster boy for TDS, and now he's embracing that term. So it's not even an allegation; it's confirmed at this point.
Right. He's self-admitted TDS, Kevin, but he's also the epitome of woke. And now, with us looking back and finding that quote, I think he's on a demolition derby against his own self, and perhaps it's the end of woke as he goes down.
Yeah, listen, we know these guys always fail upward, so he'll land on his feet somewhere. But I think that he is at least self-aware enough to know that the walls are slowly starting to close in. Listen, they destroyed late night. Late night TV used to be, an American institution. People, it was water cooler talk. They made movies about the Letterman, Leno showdown. We watched Joan Rivers destroy her career for having the audacity to try to get her own talk show. It was late night TV was news. It was media, and now it's just a sad joke. We're seeing the slowly dimming embers of a once former great institution. And these folks, Kimmel and Colbert, are directly responsible for it. We know that these networks are running out of money. They have to start trimming costs somewhere, and it can't always come from the few network shows that they have left. It's got to come from late night. Kimmel has, whether he wants to or not, realizes that he has clowned himself and become the poster child for TDS. I'm sure he's hoping that some super progressive outlet will throw him on there. Maybe he has aspirations of becoming Timu Larry King on MSNBC. Who knows? Who knows? I don't want to put that evil out there. But clearly he knows it's over and done with. And as woke is becoming less fashionable as common sense returns, people's tolerance for this is diminishing faster than these folks can process it. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But 2 years can't come fast enough.
Folks, why is Jimmy Kimmel sending folks to the competition, to the competitors, sending them out there and attaching his support to somewhere that's facing a $20 billion lawsuit and a likely settlement? Because he's already settled with his end, with his demise. Goodbye, Disney. Goodbye, Jimmy. The woke era collapses, and Kimmel does not go on. Often as we get ready to wrap these up, folks, you'll hear us say, keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun. And the reason we do it is because we appreciate you. It's true, we do. And we want you to have a good time. Thank you for giving us the great time of spending time with you. Folks, on the way out the door, consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell, and drop a comment down below because you matter. Your thoughts matter. Who cares what the legacy corporate deadbeat media tells you? You really are important. And we're a testament to that. We wouldn't be here without folks just like you. And since we've said it, we'll say it once more. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
Right. So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. She's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, I'm gonna call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach. I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.